Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, my MIL keeps trying to play mom. MIL discloses SO's marriage proposal attempt and continues to show up unannounced after multiple attempts to communicate our needs for privacy after a long antepartum and NICU stay. Need advice setting boundaries. Pregnant and waiting for the fallout when MIL finds out. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My MIL keeps trying to play mom. So I've always had boundary issues with my MIL. I feel like I was good with maintaining them before I had a baby. I've tried to be close with her, but if you give this lady an inch, she takes a mile, so we have a relationship at a distance. But man oh man, since having a baby, all that hard work on boundaries for the past 5 years seem to have gone out the window. She doesn't listen to anything I say and wants to be called mama her name. Thinks she knows everything about my baby, and tries to show up to my house constantly. A couple weeks ago she called and asked to come over. I had friends coming to visit the baby and I told her it wasn't a good day. Around the same time my guests were coming, I hear a knock on the door, and guess who's in my face? MIL, pissed. Anytime we go anywhere she tries to snatch my baby out of my arms or stands over my head while I'm taking care of my son. It's overbearing and annoying. Everything he does she says he needs this, he's doing this cause of this, and I'll respond with what he actually needs, and she does everything in her power to prove she's right, even if that means making my baby uncomfortable. It's like she's trying to prove she knows my baby better than me. She calls herself my baby's second mom. No, you're his grandma. He's starting to social smile, and I sent her a video, and while visiting them today she was trying to get him to smile and he wouldn't. Cue the comparisons. Why won't you smile for me like you smile for your mom? If she tries to rock him to sleep and can't settle him, why won't you sleep in my arms, but you will for your mom? Because I'm his mom. We were at the park the other day and her daughter's son got stung by a bee, passed out, and started throwing up when we got there. Yet she still only was concerned with me and my baby and kept trying to take him and shoo me away. It gives me the ick so bad and makes me want to leave him with her even less. Sorry for the long rant, no one else to vent to about this. Edit, I don't ever leave him alone with her. That happened once, even while husband was home, so not fully alone, and will never happen again for other reasons besides this, carelessness and safety issues. So I guess I mean I want her around him even less. I'd make it clear, especially with the mama names, that she can either be grandma, or she can be name, but she will never be mama anything. You can even make this happen by only referring to her as your choice of name when he sees her. Shut her down, and fast. Yep, I do. Whenever she's around I call her grandma her name, and it's now a pissing contest between mama her name and grandma her name whenever we're around her. Still holding my ground though. Agreed, I'd never leave him with her. This will get worse and she'll try to turn him against you when he gets older, all sorts of manipulation tactics. That's insane. Oh, for clarification, I never leave him alone with her. So I guess I don't ever want her to even hold him. Exactly this. So scary. No one is entitled to seeing your child. If you want her around him less than set boundaries and talk to your DH first and explain you're feeling overwhelmed, disrespected and uncomfortable by her and need space for you and baby. Explain how she's been making you feel and how she's been acting, and then tell DH that you and baby will be taking some much needed distance from MIL. Also make a list of boundaries and go over it with DH and then send it to MIL some helpful ones for your case. 1. No unannounced visits. You're either invited or you call and see if we are free, and you won't be permitted in if you just show up or you're just down the road or you were in the neighborhood. And if she somehow does get in, take baby and lock yourselves away until she leaves, or leave yourself, which works better for you. 2. You will ask to hold my child. You will not come over and take my child from me. If you do try, I will not be giving you my child and you will be asked to leave or we will leave. 3. I am the mother. No one else will be addressed as mother. Mama, I carried and birthed this child. I reserve that title. Or my favorite is to ask when they had a baby with their child, but that's just me. 4. Personal space. I am my child's mother. I know what they need and how to care for them. Do not hover over me while I'm enjoying my baby or tending to them. Do not follow me around. Doing so will result in either baby and I going to our room until you either calm down or leave, or if you're at the in-laws, just leave. Do not ever take my child out of my arms. You need to leave my house. You are no longer welcome without a direct invitation from me. Then change the locks and keep all doors locked. I would make firm boundaries, and if she breaks them, it's 7 days time out. P.S. Your husband needs to deal with his mom. She doesn't have the right to snatch your baby out of your arms. Where is your husband and why isn't he addressing this with her? If I were you, I wouldn't see her for a while. Explain that her overbearingness is creeping into obsessive territory and you don't feel like she is understanding that she is a grandparent and not a parent to your child and it is making you uncomfortable. If you don't nip this in the bud now, she'll be tagging along to parent-teacher conferences and planning your kids' birthday parties. I'm going to be taking a long break from this lady. No pics or videos, no answering phone calls, no answering the door. And what they study at college, what jobs they get, who they love, etc. Round and round goes the crazy train, or it stops, nobody knows. Drop the rope. Don't send pictures or texts, and don't try to spend time with her. Don't babysit DH's relationship with her either. If he's not reaching out, then let him not reach out. If she shows up uninvited, don't let her in. Perhaps a blunt, I understand your enthusiasm for a new grandchild, however you are not respecting me as the parent, you are not respecting my personal space and it is affecting your relationship with me, which prior to this we got on okay. I believe the best way forward is that any visits are to be scheduled when DH is home. I would not allow her to call herself mama anything to my child. Also, I think you should speak up and set boundaries. No more second mom stuff. If my Mil ever grabbed my baby from my arms, she would get to hold her at all anymore. If you don't enforce boundaries with consequences for stomping those boundaries, she will not improve. If you tell her not to show up and she does anyway, don't let her in. If you let her in under those conditions, her behavior will never improve. She will continue to stomp boundaries because she gets what she wants when she does. What does DH say about his mom's behavior? Have you discussed these issues with him? It really should be his responsibility to get his mom in check. But if he won't, tell him you will, and it will irreparably damage yours and Mil's relationship. She will take it better coming from him. MIL discloses SO's marriage proposal attempt and continues to show up unannounced after multiple attempts to communicate our needs for privacy after a long antepartum and NICU stay. Need advice setting boundaries. While holding my 3-week-old twins, MIL says, I keep forgetting these are not my babies, knowingly crashes a romantic dinner I planned for my SO's last day of paternity leave, and the worst incident emo, told me that my SO had planned on proposing to me on a recent trip if the time was right, hasn't yet. Mind you, this was in the context of asking me if we conceived during said trip, because she was trying to do the math. Major cringe. Context: I had a high-risk pregnancy where I was monitored in the hospital for 6 weeks antepartum, followed by a NICU stay. During my baby shower, MIL declared she planned to stay with my SO while I was away for a month. Before delivery, they eventually negotiated a week. She's since suggested staying with us indefinitely to help with chores, babies, etc. We told her we appreciate the continued offers, but are managing very well and feel a need for privacy while settling into parenthood and our home after a long hospital stay. She said she understood and would let us communicate when/how we would like support, yet arranged to stay at a friend's guesthouse in our neighborhood, stating that her heart was aching to see her grandchildren. She visited the weekend prior, and just needed to be physically close, lives a few hours away, but don't worry, I won't be in your hair. She said things like she and her so weren't doing well and she just needed space, emotionally manipulative emo. She later admitted she overstated her need for alone time and just wanted to see the babies. She showed up with multiple suitcases BC she didn't know how long she would stay. Flash forward. I'm bringing home my SO's favorite takeout for a surprise romantic dinner on his last day of paternity leave, she knows this. I arrive home and she's sitting on our porch because she needed a change of scenery, but don't worry, we don't need to invite her in if we don't want to. Of course I invited her in to not seem hostile. She has dinner with us, then continues on with unrequested house chores and pacifying babies, oftentimes intervenes when she hears them crying even if we're handling their needs in the other room, or steps in to soothe them while I'm changing diapers. Anyway, romantic dinner failed. So later politely asked her to let us know before she shows up, but she's since popped in to drop off pastries, fill up her water bottle, read in our backyard. It all sounds lovely, but seems sneaky to me, especially when I'm breastfeeding and suddenly see her walking up our driveway, then a couple hours later texts to let me know she's in the backyard if I need anything, SMH. She desperately wants to help, but the proposal spoiler, showing up unannounced, lurking in the yard, and telling me she keeps forgetting my babies are not hers are all serious red flags that she cannot maintain healthy boundaries. She is so loving and has the best of intentions, and will have a meaningful relationship with her grandchildren, but right now I can't handle her crossing boundaries I've clearly set. My SO has also been very clear with her, but she sort of mocks him and says he's very protective of my privacy. He feels it's not my responsibility to manage her behavior, which I appreciate. It's time I confront her, especially given the added incident about the proposal, which honestly really hurt that she would spoil that surprise. What do I say? Lock the door and don't answer it. This woman is playing you and will continue to do so as long as you let her. So needs to tell her to go home. Visiting time is over and he will let her know the next time she is allowed to visit. And don't worry about hurting her feelings, because she sure doesn't care about hurting yours. Oh, for Pete's sake. Stop letting the pushy broad into your house. If she has a key, change the locks. If you can't resist her wheedling, don't listen. Block her on the phones and social media. Stop telling her your plans if you don't want them interrupted. If it weren't for the twins, she'd be blaming you for stealing the affections of So. If she camps out on the porch or in the backyard, call the cops. She does not have the best of intentions. She has baby rabies and intends to replace you as mom. Boundaries do not work if they are not enforced. It's a victory for her every time she shoves past them. As for spoiling the surprise, she could very well have made that up to start a fight between yourself and So. If she didn't, well, time for him to stop telling her secrets he wants kept. And never ever give her a chance to move in. Sheesh. I can get that she adores your babies, and not seeing them for a week could feel like a very long time. They're the fun in her life. But there isn't much loving and best of intentions in your post, OP. She mocks her son when he tries to gently set boundaries. She shows up when she knows you planned a special evening for your So. And says you don't have to invite me in. Yeah, okay. I'll sit on your porch waiting for you, then put you in the awkward position of telling me to leave. Say that to her. The engagement is really bad. Her son confided in her, she knew he's waiting until what he considers the perfect moment, and she betrayed his trust. That was a crap move, and I don't know how she wouldn't know it would upset or disappoint you. Does he know she told you? I think you and So need to pull back more, not share as much with her. Like the dinner and the proposal, she's using what she's told to interfere with plans. Don't respond to the texts that she's in the backyard. Later, have So ask her if she wants to borrow an outside chair for the guest house. Keep seeing her, but schedule it. Let her get used to weekly visits, and hopefully realize she doesn't need to be living nearby. Keep your doors locked, don't answer for water bottle fill-ups or pastry deliveries. You're busy. Think about how to address overstepping. The dinner incident understandably caught you off guard. Don't get into an argument or be rude, but address her behavior with confusion. I told you that so and I were having a date night. Why would you come here? Be direct, questioning her actions without being angry. I don't understand. What do you mean I don't have to invite you in, but you're going to sit on our porch all night? If you needed a change of scenery, there's a million other places you could go. You knew I was planning a special evening. Why would you show up? It won't be easy or fun, OP. But you're going to have to be a little relentless questioning her behavior. Tell her this is making you uncomfortable. You understand she loves the kids, but this constant showing up uninvited, practically moving into your neighborhood, and other comments she's made are getting worrisome. You don't know what her MIL was like when she had her kids, if she did things like just show up and hang out in her backyard, but this is too much for you. You just spent 6 weeks in a hospital bed, followed by the babies being in the NICU. You want time to decompress, relax at home, bond with your babies. You can't take on trying to meet her needs too. Your DH should be the one setting these boundaries, with you at his side. Stop showing up without being invited. Stop hanging out in our backyard. Stop dropping things off without asking. We don't like being interrupted in our own home by uninvited guests. We deserve to have privacy. If you show up without an invitation, we am not opening the door. If you camp out in our backyard, we will call the police to report a trespasser. If your water bottle is empty, go home and fill it there. If you've got extra pastries, give them to your neighbor. Brutal? Maybe. But nothing less is going to make it clear, and when you follow up by not inviting her in, not allowing her to fill her water bottle, not being okay with her sitting in your backyard, perhaps set up a sprinkler, she'll slowly start to understand that you're not going to let her invade your life. Don't bother telling her how hurt you are about the leaked proposal. She won't care that she hurt you, and she'll get a certain amount of satisfaction at hearing you were hurt. That actually does not sound lovely at all. That's creepy, manipulative behavior. Don't let her in. It is your husband's responsibility to manage her, and if he's willing, he should be the one setting the boundaries and enforcing them. She's learned that your boundaries are meaningless if she physically invades them, and she will continue to do so until she's stopped. What part of her behavior is the best of intentions? She sounds unhinged. She needs to be told to go home. She seems to know about your special occasions ahead of time. First off, quit telling her. Inform her after the event, if at all. She has no shame in ruining your events. Can you lock your back gate? Stop answering your door. Respond to her texts 24 hours later. Your so needs to step up and tell her it's time she go back to her own life. She said she would stay out of your hair, but texting you from your own backyard is stomping your boundaries pretty hard. Let her know these actions have exhausted her welcome. It's past time for your so to lay down boundaries. The last time MIL showed up at our home unannounced, I let her stand there until she realized we were not going to open the door and she left. DH followed up the incident with a firmly worded text. She never did it again. I think you're wrong when you say she is so loving and has the best of intentions. Spoiler, this is not loving behavior and she has no good intentions. She has already told you she thinks of your babies as hers. That's not loving at all. She keeps showing up unexpectedly and horning in on your private moments and your lives when you don't want her there. You should not let her in so as not to seem hostile. Don't open the door to her. Tell her to leave every time you don't want her there. You have to put a stop to this, along with your so, because she will continue to try and get her own way. She is banking on you not being rude, so she shows up and assumes you'll place nice and let her in. Get a camera doorbell. Don't open the door to her when she shows up. Just leave her out there. Get curtains for all the doors and windows on the first floor. If she shows up, close the curtains. If you come home and she is waiting there, ignore her, walk in the house and lock her out. Pregnant and waiting for the fallout when MIL finds out. Wondering if anyone else has been in a similar situation and how they handled it. I'm currently fairly early in my pregnancy, almost second trimester. We are NC with husband's parents, especially MIL. She's the queen bee. For a variety of reasons, DH had a really unsafe childhood full of really bad decisions by his parents, refused to meet me for years, refused to stop hanging out with DH's ex-wife, etc. I have a SS8 who still sees DH's family, sometimes through his mom. We do not plan on telling his parents, and most of his siblings who are also really problematic, that I'm pregnant, but once we tell SS, they will all find out. SS will tell his mom and his mom will absolutely blast it to DH's family. I guess my question is, has anyone else had a similar situation and how did it go when the Just Knows found out? I'm afraid MIL is going to go on an apology tour suddenly, even though she accepts no responsibility for her actions in the past and will be banging down our door. She is also one of those people who thinks she owns her grandkids and has all the rights to them. She has 13 grandchildren currently. I'm nervous for the fallout, but DH is pretty chill about it, just saying, well, ignore them as usual. Any thoughts or advice would be really helpful. You live your life and let DH handle his mother. You don't need to answer a ringing phone or a knock on the door by anyone unexpectedly. Yes, she will find out. Yes, she probably will want involvement. No, you don't need to do anything you don't want to, and that includes handing baby to her on a silver platter. You move forward and don't worry about it because they make cameras and doorbell cams and your DH takes care of the rest. If he doesn't, you cross that bridge when you get there. This is helpful, thank you. I have read a lot of posts about crazy grandparents on here, and this is a distillation of advice that was taken and worked. Not all of it might work for you or apply to you, but maybe it will get you thinking about things you hadn't before. 1. Get cameras and put them up. Back door, front door, side yards, everything. 2. Rekey the house if there is any chance that someone from the JN Brigade can unlock your doors and get into the house. 3. Grey rock your SS. He is only 8 and he won't be able to understand how terrible it will be for you guys if the other family members know stuff they shouldn't know. His mother is going to be the ultimate flying monkey for your MIL and he won't be able to understand that. So avoid discussing anything of importance around him when he visits. If he starts asking pointed questions that are obviously directly from his mother, find a way to not answer them or answer them super vaguely without hurting the boy's feelings. 4. Put passwords on everything. Doctor, hospital, baby shower venue, everything. Do not have a public baby registry, have the link unpublished and only send it to trusted people you believe will not give it out to the JN Brigade who are invited to the shower. 5. Do not tell anyone the gender of the baby or the baby's name until after the birth. It will be too tempting for even the best meaning people to let it slip on social or in a conversation. 6. When the baby is born, have a strict boundary of no posts about the child on social unless it comes directly from you and they share your post with permission or get direct verbal permission to share something. Grey rocking the JN Brigade will be a top priority once LO is here. 7. Make sure you and your DH are on exactly the same page about the level of contact you expect to have during the pregnancy, birth, and post-birth periods. Make sure you agree on who will be visiting when, and if NC will go to LC, etc. for some JNs. 8. Have cameras inside the house. Make sure all ways to get into LO's nursery are covered. 9. Find out about grandparents' rights in your state/province. It is often slightly different in every locale. Make sure you understand, for certain, if these people have any rights or privileges about your LO just because of a genetic relationship. Expect them to make lots of threats in this vein but have no actual idea what rights they have. 10. Record and save everything in the beginnings of an info binder. It isn't a magic bullet, but at the very least it will keep you organized, on target, and can be used by a lawyer to help you in any future court cases. 11. Control the narrative. Don't wait for SS8 to tell Jane ex-wife who will tell Nils. Post on your social media exactly and only exactly what you want the world to know about your pregnancy. Nip the apology tour in the bud. Tell those allowed to see the post that all people you are NC with now will remain NC and will not be reinstated. Tell them that after careful consideration by you and DH, you have decided this step is necessary, and that no amount of begging, crying, screaming, rumor-mongering, threatening, etc., is going to change your minds. This is a final decision. 12. Prepare to be bombarded. Shine up those spines. Consider changing your phone numbers just before you post and only give them out to the people you want to hear from. Pre-block people on your phones, and prepare to block anyone you must on social after the announcement. 13. Do not underestimate the crazy. I have seen on here so many people shocked and appalled by how far some ILs will go with the crazy to get to their grandbabies. Don't be like them. Realize the crazy could go up to 11 and don't let it blindside you. I hope at least some of these will help. Good luck, OP. I am with your DH on just ignoring them. But, if you don't have doorbell cameras, get them. If she isn't flat out blocked, filter forward and screenshot her nonsense to a saved place, and back it up in case you need to take further steps. If DH talks to SS pediatrician, consider asking for age-appropriate ways to explain that Granny is in permanent time out for being a really bad mother. If he isn't in contact, ask your own pediatrician when you get one. By the way, you should start working on that about now. You want one in place when you deliver. Doorbell cameras aren't just for JNs. You can see when the Amazon package was delivered and get a picture of the person who stole it. You can avoid the JWs and the other solicitors. Political candidates for local offices go door to door in my neighborhood, too. Also, you can open the app when the motion sensor triggers, answer it, and yell "Hi honey" when your DH gets to the door to see how high he can jump. There are also motion sensor sprinklers designed to be pest deterrents as well as sprinklers. Some of them also have app-controlled test modes. Just saying. Make sure that the cameras cover the spray zone, though. Don't tell her. Straight out of the gate, you two are NC. If she comes to your door, advise her she is trespassed and she needs to leave the property, and then call the police if she doesn't leave. Pregnancy does not equals forgiveness. Start how you mean to finish. Congratulations on the baby. Take care of yourself. Don't forget who she really is. Thank you. Appreciate the wisdom. This. She don't get another chance because she will only intrude and cause problems. They don't change. Ever. And being weak and being kind and letting her in will end in disaster. She will poison your child's mind. I guarantee it. You're no contact, so how she reacts or what she tries to do shouldn't affect you or your family. She can't contact you, hopefully she's blocked. If she shows up, call the police. If she sends the flying monkeys, tell them we are not in contact and won't be discussing her. You're right, she is blocked on everything on my end. And by blocked I mean she has never even asked for my contact information other than friending me on Facebook long ago, and she definitely can't contact me there anymore. The fallout is that she screams into the void. Block her number and social media if you haven't already. If she turns up at the door, have the police remove her for trespassing. She'll either learn to leave you alone, or she can cool her heels in jail for a bit. The thought of her in jail. The fallout? You're NC, there is no fallout after NC. I'm with your husband, just ignore them. They can't force themselves into your life if you don't want them in your life. I wouldn't stress. If they show up unannounced, call the police. If they aren't blocked on everything, block them. They can't do an apology tour if they can't contact you. I'd block all the flying monkeys too. If anyone says anything about forgiving the in-laws, they get automatically blocked for your own peace of mind. You're right. She doesn't really have a way to contact me anyways, has never had my phone number, so I'll just block if she gets it and move on. Appreciate the sanity check. Follow your DH's lead. NC means NC. You're both adults, and you live separately from MIL, don't deal with the fallout unless she decides to suddenly show up at your door, and then you call the police. My NC-MIL found out after we gave birth to our son, her first grandchild. My BIL knew, also NC, but he knew about our pregnancy early on, and surprisingly didn't say anything. I got one angry message about my cruelty. I sent back an equally vicious response. After that she went cold and never tried contact again. We now have 3 kids and she has never even tried to contact us about number 2 and number 3. That's great. I'm so glad she backed off and you set boundaries to have a peaceful life with your family away from her. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.